Hello, and welcome to the ProjectWise Administrator Advanced Accreditation course on the iModel Composition Server for PDF. In this lesson, you will create an output destination folder component for a relative folder from parent work area for the use in the iModel Composition Server. When creating an output destination folder component for a relative folder from the parent work area, this will allow users to apply their plotting standards to selected files at plot time when using the iModel Composition Server and provide convenience to administrators when creating plotting standards. During this lesson, you will learn how to create an output destination rendition for a relative folder from parent work area. An output destination folder component for a relative folder from parent work area defines where in ProjectWise the newly created rendition documents and distributed source files will be stored. For each output destination rendition component you create, you will define where the output of the job will be stored, whether or not to create a new version if the file name is not unique in the destination folder, whether or not to map attribute values from the source documents in the input set to the new rendition documents, or the copies of source documents that get stored in the destination folder, and whether or not to distribute the source documents in the input set. In this exercise, you will define an output destination folder component for a relative folder from parent work area. Once you've logged into the ProjectWise Administrator, select the Renditions object and click on the greater than symbol to the left of the Renditions object. Expand the tree until you reach the Rendition Profiles component and keep expanding until you get to the Output Destination folders. Select the Output Destination folders and right-click and choose New Destination. In the Place Rendition In pull-down, select Relative Folder from Parent Work Area. This field lets you enter a string that defines a folder relative to the parent work area. The system uses that string in this field to determine where to place the output. In this situation, we will type PDF. To continue to build that path dynamically, you can use any of our add symbol technology by clicking on the Add Symbol button. Here you have at your disposal document properties, folder properties, work area properties, environment attribute properties, and general properties within the system. Most users would select the environment attributes, select their correct environment, and choose the correct environment attributes in question. For example, design status would help us build and concatenate the name dynamically for where the PDFs would reside in the data source. But for this particular exercise, we will only use the folder name PDF. The component also gives us the opportunity to create a folder if it does not exist already within your folder template structure. This gives you the ability to dynamically build folders or an entire path at plot time. With this enabled, you can choose from your environments to ensure that the correct environment is assigned to the newly generated folders instead of inheriting from the parent folder up above where the files will reside. By doing so, you simply select the correct environment. This is also possible for the storage area, as far as where those files will be stored within your data source and on the physical storage devices. And you can also decide what workflow states will be available upon those PDFs when they are created. This will give you the ability to assign a designated workflow on the folder at folder plot time. For this particular exercise, we will leave these three settings to inherit from the parent folder. The component also gives us the ability to overwrite the existing file, meaning if the file name already exists, we will simply just overwrite it every plot cycle. Or you could choose to create a new version of the file meaning we will amend and continue to add versions, read-only versions and an editable version every time we create a plot within the ICS printing system. For our particular exercise, we would choose to overwrite the files. We do not want to enable the delete existing duplicate files and versions when appropriate. That setting is only to be used if plotting simultaneously multiple versions at the same time. We will not enable mirror source data source folder structure for rendition files at this particular time. We will copy the version name from the source document, and we will not copy the workflow state from the source document. But please keep in mind, if you do turn this on, you should assign the workflow at plot time to ensure that the state is there to be copied. But for now, we will just simply remember to set this to inherit for parent, and we will not copy a workflow state at this time. Let's take this opportunity to look at the attribute mapping button. This will allow us to map any attribution that is found in the environments on the source documents. That information will be added to the newly generated PDFs found in ProjectWise. So to choose your attribute mapping, you can start with the radio buttons on the source attributes and click Document, and click the destination attributes and click the Document radio button as well, and choose Auto Map or Add, and that will give you the description for the original file that is being printed as a PDF. Next, you can select the environment radio button for the source attributes and the environment radio button for the destination attributes, and then choose the appropriate environment for your attribute mapping. In this case, we will use the My Company rendition attributes for both the source and destination environments. Hit Auto Map, and this will automatically map each attribute between the source and destination files. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to environments is to keep in mind that when you're using a document code, they can cause issues when mapping attribution for the ICS for PDF product because of update triggers. So it is not uncommon for people to have to use a cloned environment of the source environment. And that cloned environment would remove the document code as an example. It looks just like the original, however, it does not have the document code involved, and thus it's free to receive information since the ICS product is sort of feeding that environment constantly, the new PDFs and the source file attribution information. With that, you can click OK to finish with the attribute mapping. And let's name this component Relative Folder from Parent Work Area. Then we can click OK on the Output Destination Folder dialog. This concludes the lesson on creating an Output Destination Folder component for a relative folder from Parent Work Area. Let's review what's been learned. During this lesson, you've learned how to create an Output Destination Folder component for a relative folder from Parent Work Area. The next video will provide techniques on how to create a rendition profile when printing with the iModel composition server. Thank you.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.